Hello, my name is Rene Pedraza from South Bend, Indiana. Been married 18 years. I have 4 kids, Chelsea, Angelica, Renee, and Cruz. My parents got divorced when I was 11, and I've been on my own since in the streets. At the age of 12, I started smoking marijuana. At the age of 15, I started doing cocaine. At the age of 17, I was drinking. And so to support the habit and my survival, I started selling it, and been doing it for a long time. And I was lying when I got married at 20 years old, and I lied to my wife a lot, living a double life. I was a heavy equipment operator for 14 years, and it was just a terrible life I was living. Very hurt, bitter, angry, looking for love in the wrong places, doing all kind of disasters, and I didn't care who I hurt. It didn't matter. One day we were going to my mother-in-law's house to go eat some dinner, and I just found myself praying. I was not in the church, never knew anything about God, didn't pray or read the Bible, nothing. I had no clue about God. And I was praying at the stoplight. I didn't want to sell drugs no more. I didn't want to live that life no more. I didn't want to be that hypocrite, liar, hurting my wife and my kids also. And I just prayed, Father, whatever it takes, do what you got to do. I don't want to live like this no more. I don't care if you take my life or whatever happens, happens. 2 weeks later, I got busted. I was in jail, angry again. I was in there with the criminals like myself and saying, you know, I said a prayer, and I didn't want it to be answered like that. You know, I wanted it to be answered my way, you know, like smack me in my hands and just take the want to sell or the urge of wanting money away from me. But anyways, a brother in there came up to me and he's like, Renee, you know, you ever give your life to Jesus? I said, no, I don't know what you're talking about. He's like, just confess everything you've ever done in your life and give it to him. I wasn't ready at the time, so I was still trying to figure out how to get out of this mess, and my wife had no clue that I was selling or doing it. And I didn't even want to call home. It took me 2 weeks to call home to let her know what was going on. By that time, she already knew, had an idea of something was going on. So I ended up getting out that day 2 weeks later. And first thing I told her, I said, let's go to any church. I need to give my life to Jesus. I was 28 years old, never been in trouble for anything in my life. I believe the prayers of my aunt and my grandma are the ones that have been protecting me all the way up to that age. And he's been trying to get my attention. So I gave my life to Jesus that day, but I still kept doing my mess. I ended up serving 3 years in prison, getting out, got into a discipleship in there. And I got out, my wife and I reconciled after about 1.5 years prior to me getting out. And I had fallen back into my mess as soon as I got out. I was selling again, doing it again, everything again. Lying to her, hurting her, like I never, same thing as before. And she kept forgiving me, and I just kept taking advantage of her love. Anything I told her, she would believe. That's how much she loved me. And I hurt her so much. And so I started going to church, and my pastor was starting to use me. He said, Renee, you have something in you. I think we can use you with the youth. But here I am with drugs in my pocket, setting up drug deals in the church, waiting to get out of there to go do something and make some money. It was still there, tearing me up. The conviction was, I also tried to take my life several times too. I didn't want to live anymore. And he finally came up to me and he's like, Renee, there's something wrong. I can see there's something wrong with you. Maybe sometime next week I'll pick you up. We'll go for a ride and talk about it. I said, yeah, I really would. Well, that time came, and we went and parked at a park and got out, and I just started crying, and he started crying, and he's like, you know, there's something wrong. Well, at the time, I lost my job too, so I was lying to my wife about my job, and it's just crazy. And I finally confessed everything to my pastor, and he's like, wow, how long you been walking around like that? I said, about 6, 7 months. He's like, well, everything you told me, just get down and confess it to God, and I'm here with you. And I did, and we cried, and I just felt that instantly, I felt refreshed. I felt like, because I was doing so much badness that I didn't think he would forgive me. I didn't think that it was any kind of possibility for me to come back to him. It was hard, and that instantaneously it went away. And he mentioned Teen Challenge. And when I walked in those doors, these guys, they just poured a lot of love into me, compassion, understanding, praying over me. I don't know about my marriage today, but I know one thing, that Jesus is in my heart. And my kids love me, and I believe in him, and I trust him that he's going to reconcile my marriage back, and everything's going to be all right. Thank you guys for hearing my testimony.